Hi, everybody. Wishing you well at this time of year, of course. We have a full moon coming up in the sign of Cancer on the 26th or the 27th of December, wherever you are in the world. For those of us in the UK, it's happening on the 27th of December at 33 minutes past midnight. So Wednesday, the 27th, 00:33. So, of course, that's when the moon is at its fullest energy. But you will see overnight on the 26th, for those of us in the UK, in the night sky, of course, it's going to look full. And you might have seen it over the past couple of nights, actually, as it's been waxing up to the full moon. So full moons, we know the drill, okay? Perfect for illuminating certain aspects. And also, if we're working with the lunar energy, to release. It's a full moon in Cancer, folks. It's the last full moon of this year of 2023. And I've looked at the charts, which I will, of course, present to you very shortly. And there is still this karmic feel to what's going on in the alignments, okay? And it's connected to our journey of transformation and healing, as we know, the quest of discovery we've been on. Of course, we're now in Capricorn season for us to really ground into our reality, those structures we want to put in place for ourselves to drive us forward. It's more of that masculine energy. And it's cardinal energy. So we can start things off from that point. We can get things going, okay? Sagittarius season may have taught us a lot because that's all about learning and discovery. It is the quest, the spiritual quest as well. And it's mutable fire energy. We've moved from that into the sign of Capricorn. So this is about now. What have we learned from that period? And where did we want to shoot that metaphorical arrow? What are we trying to aim towards? And now it's kind of rooting us into, getting us grounded, getting us focused on what we now need to start off, and almost being devoid of emotions in a way to get things going, because we need that focus. However, with a full moon in Cancer, the opposite sign to Capricorn, it can bring heightened emotions. Full moons can do that anyway. If you're sensitive to lunar energy, it can do that anyway, because we're releasing, we're purging, and sometimes that comes out via our emotions, okay? With a full moon in Cancer, it is the most positive place for the moon to be, because the moon rules the sign of Cancer. So it's a benefic position for the moon to be in. But that being said, we can feel everything. We can feel those feelings with the moon being in Cancer. So with a full moon, it heightens that energy. So if we've been discovering quite a lot, if a lot's been illuminated to us, it could be quite overwhelming. And of course, we need to allow those emotions to be processed in order to be released. But it's also got that divine, feminine, nurturing essence, the motherly sort of nurturing essence that comes with the sign of Cancer and the moon generally, okay? And because it's the last full moon of the year, there is this nice feel to it in terms of us being nurtured to release what we need to release. And certainly what we've discovered that we need to release, at this point on our journey. Because of the opposition between the moon in Cancer to the sun in Capricorn, that's where we do have the feminine versus masculine energy in that way. And, it is that sort of more nurturing essence of Cancerian vibe, if you like, to the Capricornian sort of more Saturnian vibe of really wanting to get things done. And we know what Saturn has been trying to teach us since moving into Pisces on the 7th of March this year. And that's been all about, let's get things in line with our spiritual truth. And here are some further lessons, because you may not have learnt them for the past 3 years when I was in Aquarius, but now I'm in Pisces, the house of the divine. Let's get things straightened out and not messing around with it. So lessons have been served up in a more rapid way. And if you've been feeling that, if that's resonated with you, you'll know what I'm talking about. And this has also been connected to karmic returns. Okay, so lessons are part of that, because a karmic return might be a further lesson, or it could be a blessing for those lessons that you've learned and the wisdom that you've gained. And you might recognize that there's certain repeating cycles, repeating patterns that have been going on. And that's because further lessons need to be learned, or the same lesson still needs to be learned, but it's been a bit more challenging this time because we're going round and round in circles, that sort of thing. And, karmic situations have been connected to that also. Often, you know, past life related. So it's been a time of it. There's been a lot to do within this period of transformation. The lessons we're having to learn, what Saturn's been driving us forward to do, and what Pluto has been driving us forward to do in terms of the deep transformation, not surface level, deep transformation. Now we've got the full moon, final one of 2023, and it is about releasing. I would say more so than illumination. And it's not to say that there's not going to be any illumination at all. I'm not saying that at all. But intuitively, I feel that there is more emphasis on this one for releasing. And it could be associated with releasing through feelings. Okay, that's just what I'm feeling with regards to that. And when I pull up the chart, you'll see that there is a lot, you know, to do with inner growth, because Jupiter is, of course, still in retrograde until the end of this month. So only a few more days to go, but he's still in retrograde. So that expansive essence of Jupiter is actually going on within, because it's a retrograde. So it's the introspective side of it. So the inner growth and expansion is extremely powerful. So, you know, but in order to get to that point, we might have had to go through challenging situations, or we might be discovering certain things that have been kind of reality checks that have woken us up to certain things. So it's been a lot, you know, but the inner growth and expansion is positive. We know that Chiron is in Aries, so the healing journey connected to our sovereignty. And of course, that is on top of wherever Chiron is in your chart, because that's going to be specific to your unique healing journey in this lifetime. But as a collective, this is about our sovereignty, and we're rising up in terms of our sovereignty. So that's been very powerful, and the inner expansion and inner growth is assisting that. There is also a lot to be said about the shadow work that's been going on. So I've been mentioning this recently, you know, in terms of what Lilith has been teaching us and the shadow side. And we've had to really kind of work on shadow aspects, because our shadow will never lie to us. Our intuition will never lie to us, but we might lie to ourselves. Okay. So it's been a bit of a whoosh. Okay, that sort of wound is coming up, that fear, that anxiety, or that deep desire I might have about something. This is all coming up for a reason, to understand why, to understand if there is a pattern, to understand what the root cause is, you know, etc. And working hand in hand with the more lighter side of the energy, certainly in terms of the feminine aspect, because Lilith is more of the shadow feminine. And then we've got Venus, which is, of course, the lighter feminine side. And Venus has really been asking us to take an audit, if you like, about our resources. Where are we investing our resources? And that can be our time, our energy, our money, our love, our attention. Where are we investing our resources? In whom are we investing our resources? Is it reciprocal? Are we getting that back? Is it making our heart chakra happy? Is it bringing us that joy? Perfect. If not, do we need to reassess this? And this is all contributed as well to this inner growth and expansion that we've been going on. Now, I will say that we had a new moon in Sagittarius recently. So that was the last new moon that we had, okay, a couple of weeks ago. And such powerful energy to that new moon. And I mentioned this in my previous astrology report. There was so much potential in that new moon, okay, the transits, the alignments, regarding to luck, love, fortune, because of the expansive energy of Sagittarius, of course, ruled by Jupiter, and the hope that that could bring going forward. Massive amount of energy. And I remember saying that that was the new moon. You know, if you're wanting to manifest a new reality for yourselves in line with your spiritual truth, this is the new moon to do it. So this amazing amount of potential, this surge of potential energy with that new moon in Sagittarius. And then not long after, Mercury went retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. So it was almost like this surge of activity in a really positive way. It was quite exciting, you know, the energy around that new moon. To then have this kind of energy halting us in our tracks. And I wouldn't say it's in a bad way, but it's almost like a surge and a kind of whoa. Okay, let's just make sure, let's introspect, further when it comes to our structures, when it comes to our rules, you know, the Capricornian side, and our expression within all of that, Mercury, how we're communicating with ourselves relating to all of this. Because yes, we want to kind of aim for this. That's the Sagittarian quest. We want to aim for this. So much potential around all of that with that new moon, and of course it's manifestation. So what do we want to manifest for our reality? Let's go for it. And then Mercury goes retrograde and slows the energy down. Okay, so it's almost a bit like, you know, let's hold our horses, so to speak, and you know, let's really fine tune this expression of self when it comes from the Saturnian drive forward, okay, in terms of the focus that we need. And you know, that almost regimented approach, but are we being too regimented? It's, you know, Mercury retrograde, let's go within, let's find out. How are we communicating with ourselves? Is it in that fair way, you know, in terms of what we want to achieve, or are we telling ourselves different things? So that kind of all happened, and you may have felt that in the energy, that it was a kind of whoosh of energy, and then a sort of, okay, let's just, you know, take it down a little bit and introspect further. So, you know, that's been happening. And now Mercury, during his retrograde, has moved back into the sign of Sagittarius. So it relates to that quest, but it's almost like going back into the sign of Sagittarius to really kind of like examine, because it is about, you know, reassessment and looking at things again. It gives us that opportunity to do that. So that reassessment of the quest, and that reassessment of our expression within that quest. How are we wanting to express ourselves going forward? And how are we communicating with ourselves and others when it comes to our quest, when it comes to what we want to follow on our journey, you know, that kind of thing. Mercury, just as we enter a new year, you know, there will be a time when Mercury then stations direct. There will be a post-shadow phase, of course, but the energy should then start to move forward. And Jupiter will have also come out of retrograde at that point as well. So allowing that more expansive energy to open up again. Uranus will still be in retrograde for a little bit longer. But we have some big things happening next year, at the beginning of next year particularly, because Pluto is going to be moving into Aquarius, and this is going to be big. And I will be doing a further report on this, okay? I can't cover everything here and now, but let's just say things are changing. Things are changing. And, you know, you might be able to feel that already on an individual basis, because collectively, globally, things are changing. Okay, but we'll cover that again. This is all about the full moon in Cancer. And I know I've mentioned about other aspects that felt quite relevant and pertinent to say, you know, but certainly to work with this lunar energy to release what we need to release on our journey, what's been illuminated to us for the past 12 months in terms of what we need to release for our highest good, because it's no longer in alignment with us. It's no longer resonating with our spiritual truth. What do we need to release that is not reciprocal, that is not giving us that Venus energy back? Where do we need to put boundaries in place? You know, what do we need to release in terms of fears, anxieties, and doubts, and so forth? Okay, so we need to think about all of that as part of this full moon for the releasing, okay? Because we need to free up space to allow that energetic space to open up for the new to come into our lives. It's not going to come into our lives if we're holding on to the old that is no longer serving us. Okay, some of that might be serving us, but if there's anything that's not serving us, we're holding on to that. That's energetic space that could be used for the new, and we're wanting to manifest the new into our lives. Okay, let's pull up the chart. Okay, let's see. And I have got the chart with the UK's chart, of course, as I always show, to give some context on the house system. Okay, and I've got some divination tools as well here to take some additional messages at the end. So I've got those here ready. Let's get into this. Okay, full moon in Cancer. So as I said, for the UK, it's going to be 0033 on the 27th. So, you know, apply your own time zones as appropriate, of course. But this is essentially the full moon as an event, okay, a freeze frame of the cosmos at that time. You'll see lots of coloured lines on there. These were the particular aspects that I was drawn to. So first of all, we've got the moon in Cancer at 4 degrees, opposite the sun in Capricorn, because we're in Capricorn season, at 4 degrees. Okay, that's the full moon. It's opposite to the sun sign. Okay, so we've already got that opposition that I referred to about the feminine and masculine energy, but not only that, the kind of nurturing essence of the feminine against the regimented approach of getting things done. Okay, so our soul essence may want to be getting things done, you know, especially closing out the year and really wanting to kind of move forward into the new year with that gusto, if you like, and vigor. But, you know, the moon needing to nurture us through because we're still needing to release some things. So that push-pull energy could be there for that reason, because maybe we don't want to feel all these feelings that are coming up. Certainly, if there's things that we've discovered about our situation and whatever that might be, that could have been hard to deal with for one reason or another. And it's all tied into all of the other aspects, the shadow work, the healing, the rising of the sovereignty, you know, the inner growth and expansion. It's not been easy stuff to cover and to focus on. Okay, so give yourself that hug and show yourself that self-love and understand that this is coming up for a reason, because we're needing to purge stagnant emotions that are not serving us, things that we need to release for our highest good. Okay, lots of lines, as I said. Now, the moon is in trine to Saturn, and this is where I feel this full moon relates to karmic situations and the releasing of the karmic debris that we've had to deal with thus far. Okay, and anything that is not serving us, that is not in alignment with our spiritual truth, because that's what Saturn is calling for, being in Pisces. In a regimented way, of course, but there is a trine, so that's a positive aspect. So the moon is working with Saturn in this way, in a positive way. And Saturn is in Pisces, a water sign. The moon is in Cancer, a water sign. Okay, the moon rules Cancer, benefic position, perfect position for the moon to be in. Pisces is mutable energy and can flow, which isn't the best for Saturn, because Saturn wants to be structured. So there is a softening of the energy of Saturn, but Saturn is also saying, look, we have got to get in line with our spiritual truth here and no messing around. Okay, but the Piscean energy is allowing the flow of this. All right, so the trine is the flow between the moon and Saturn in these water signs to enable us to nurture ourselves through any further karmic situations or any karmic debris, as I like to call it, that we've been processing, dealing with, and we need to release. This is the time to do it. Okay, and if this needs to come out in our emotions, to allow those emotions to flow and to not be afraid of allowing those emotions to flow, not being afraid of feeling the emotions in the first place. Because when some of this karmic debris, I'll use that term quite a bit, has been recognized, has been illuminated to us, and, you know, patterns or people, connections, whatever it might be that could pertain to past lives or even just earlier in this lifetime, that have generated a bit of karma, you know, and we've needed to process and understand, and the patterns that we might have seen coming up, okay, that we recognize is actually a karmic pattern, or it's a pattern from a past life that needs to be released, and it might involve somebody else. You know, these connections have been coming up quite a bit. So it's working in harmony to allow the karmic debris to be released with this full moon energy. And by doing so, is naturally going to allow us to get more in alignment with our spiritual truth, because we're cleansing what isn't. You know, we've recognized what isn't. We don't want to hold on to that karmic debris, do we? We want to accept it, take the wisdom from it, you know, understand why this has been happening, because that shapes us as a person, and then release in order to move forward. And therefore, learning the Saturnian lessons. Okay, so the full moon is helping us with this because of that beautiful trine. Okay, this is my interpretation of this, by the way. Okay, I'm feeling this quite strongly. But Jupiter is also in the mix because there is also a sextile from the moon to Jupiter. Okay, and apologies, I've got quite a lot of lines drawn on here, and there's even more aspects in this, but these are the ones that I was actually drawn to or guided to look at, okay, for this report. So we've got, you know, the moon is actually in sextile, another harmonious aspect to Jupiter. So even if we might be feeling the feelings, this is helping us with our inner growth and expansion because we're freeing up the space. And what happens when we free up the space? We can expand for the new to come in. Jupiter is in Taurus. Okay, worth and values and resources come into this. So we need to know our worth, and also, because it works both ways, when we can understand our worth, we understand what our values are, which, by the way, might have changed through this journey of transformation. Okay, so we've assessed all of that. When we know what our worth and values are, we can then understand what we need to release. So that's why it's a two-way thing. It works in harmony with the moon. And Jupiter is also in sextile to Saturn. So it's still connected to these karmic lessons. It's still connected to our spiritual truth. Okay, not our spiritual lies, our spiritual truth. What is in alignment with our soul's truth? And let's be real, Saturn. Let's be real about it. Okay, this is what we need to understand. So we've got to release what isn't in alignment with our spiritual truth. That can be hard, okay? But there is a sextile here that is showing that by doing so, we're not only assisting our emotions and we're assisting the energy of releasing with this lunar energy, but we're also facilitating that inner growth and expansion. So we're growing as sovereign souls by doing this as well. Furthermore, there is another sextile from the sun to Saturn. So that is the soul essence of the cosmos. Even though the sun is opposite to the moon, the sun, you know, that massive expansive force in the cosmos, folks, is actually also supporting these karmic lessons, you know, the releasing of these karmic lessons, because the sun is in Capricorn, Saturn's home. So there is a regimented approach. Okay, so we've got the feelings of the Cancerian energy, feeling the feelings of all this and needing to release it, but the sun, the soul essence of the universe, supporting us to say, let's get this done, let's get this cleared, let's get this released. And it's working, all of this working with Saturn. Okay, so we are learning the lessons by doing this. We're understanding what the lessons have been for us in doing this. So it's extremely powerful. And this is why it heightens the energy. The full moon heightens the energy anyway. But this is about releasing. And it's to do with the karmic lessons that Saturn has been serving up. Okay. And it's not to say that all the lessons will stop immediately, because this is dependent on the individual and what lessons there are in this lifetime. But this is about, you know, a reminder to everybody, the potentiality of the energy based on the astrological transits that we can work with to help ourselves on our journey. We can be supported here by the cosmos, by the universe, okay, to allow that inner growth and expansion by knowing our worth, by knowing our values, by knowing our truth, by learning the Saturnian lessons and allowing ourselves to release, okay, in a regimented way, but also to feel them, releasing the feelings that we need to, connected to those lessons that we've had to learn. Because we might have gone through the lessons already and felt that we've released what we needed to. Yet this full moon could bring up tiny little emotion that relates to that hasn't been released fully. So this is about setting intentions with the universe, okay, with the divine, with source energy, okay, with spirit, to actually, you know, ensure that going forward, all right, I've recognized this lesson. I feel I've learnt this lesson because I've gathered this wisdom of X, Y, and Z in my life. I understand my worth and values. You know, I recognize I'm growing as a result of this. But if there is still any residual emotions tied up in this, I set the intentions to release this for my highest good, to free up energetic space, to bring in the new that I'm wanting to manifest in accordance with my divine truth. Okay? Because there may still be some remnants of emotions, and that could be coming up through triggers, you know, so certain things now might be triggering you that relate to past events. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. This is karmic debris from those past events that's still lingering around, that needs to be released. Okay, that's what I'd say with that one. So Saturn's in the mix, as I've just shown you. Okay, and obviously when I show you the UK's chart, I'll be able to point out the houses that this is all happening in. But we've also got another sextile here, which is from Venus to Pluto. Okay, Venus is in Scorpio. Pluto is in Capricorn. Final degrees, harsh place for it to be. And this is, again, you know, a harmonious aspect in astrology. So Venus is working with Pluto and vice versa. By us understanding where we're investing our resources and what is bringing back that reciprocal energy. So we want to feel the Venus energy, don't we? We want to feel that happiness. We want to feel that joy. We want to feel that love. We want to feel that abundance that comes from doing the things we love and enjoy and being with those we love. Okay. So in that respect, you know, we've had to understand, have we needed to let our guard down a bit to allow those opportunities to be reciprocal to us, to receive more joy, to receive more love? Do we need to let our guards down with people? Because perhaps there's an opportunity with somebody that, you know, past pain has prevented us from experiencing, but that would actually bring us joy. So do we need to let our guard down? And also, do we need to put boundaries in place where things maybe haven't been serving us that well, but we still enjoy it, but it doesn't bring us as much joy as the other things? Do we need to assess this? And that's been going on for a while, okay? And I've spoken about this many times in the astrology reports. So by us understanding that, we have facilitated the deep transformation that Pluto has been calling for. Because when we assess that and we make those changes, of course, our worth and values could change as part of that. And going forward, we're different, because maybe we're investing in new things because we've realized what does bring us joy, and it was something else. So we're now doing something else. So our vibration, our frequency is completely different. So we've facilitated that deep transformation. But, you know, it's still being called for. Now, Venus is in Scorpio, which is Pluto's sign, and Pluto's in Capricorn, Saturn's sign. So there is still depth to this, and there is still an essence of lessons. So we could still be learning this. But what this is showing me is there is a harmonious aspect between the two. So anything that's still coming up relating to these points that I just mentioned is still helping us. You know, we're still assessing what we're investing our time in, who we're investing our time in, who we're investing our emotions in, yeah, in order to understand this in terms of this deep transformation. Because when Pluto moves into Aquarius next January, this is massive change. You know, Pluto is in a sign for 20 years. It's, you know, it's massive change that's going to be happening. So everything that's been, you know, leading up to this point has been enabling us to make these changes, to transform going forward. All right. So that's what I wanted to say about Venus and Pluto. We do have another trine that is going from Venus across to Neptune. Okay, but we also have a square to Neptune, and that's going from Mars and Mercury. So Mars and Mercury are both in Sag, because I mentioned that Mercury is part of his retrograde. He's now moved back into Sag, and there is a conjunction, not exact, with Mars, and it's Sagittarian energy. You know, it's the quest, it's discovery, and it's also fire energy. So, you know, wanting to take action. but also Mercury being in retrograde, you know, when it comes to our expression, needing to go within and perhaps assess that, reassess that, okay, review things in that way. But Mars is kind of wanting to get things done. So what I feel with the square here to Neptune with those, and the trine from Venus to Neptune is, you know, that feminine essence of the creator aspect, because we've got feminine and masculine within us, regardless of gender or how we identify, and we want that to be balanced as best we can. So Venus, you know, in a water sign in Scorpio, in trine to Neptune, at home in Pisces. Okay, this is positive. This is a positive aspect. So the ethereal side of Neptune, the intuition, the magic, the creation side of it through manifestation is very much reliant here on the Venus energy of feeling that love and feeling that joy from what we're doing and who we're doing it with. Okay, who we're around, who we're connecting to, and what we're choosing to do because of how it makes us feel. Okay, and we're trusting our intuition more on this. So our intuition is helping guide us in those areas. And that's what's also enabling that transformation with Pluto. But, you know, equally, there is that essence of creation and knowing that we've got that power within us to do that. So the feminine aspect here is also being triggered and activated, I would say. That's what I feel intuitively. Whereas the masculine side, you know, Mars being in Sag, wanting to take the action to move forward, but there may just be a challenging aspect with our intuition, because maybe in the past, and only take this if it resonates, but it's coming through to me, that there could have been a bit of self-sabotage. And that might also be part of what this discovery has been about in terms of, you know, whether we've been investing in the right things and people, okay, or perhaps we've not taken the opportunity to invest in the right things and people. So that could be where self-sabotage has been taking place. So because our intuition, we're connecting more with our intuition in terms of those investments, maybe we've realized where that masculine drive, you know, to get things done and to follow what we want has kind of been a bit of a self-sabotage on our part. And because that square also has Mercury in the mix, because of the retrograde, we might have actually been reflecting on this and reassessing where we might have self-sabotaged in terms of perhaps where our intuition has told us certain things and we've ignored it, we've not believed it, whatever it might be. So that could just be highlighting a little bit of challenge that's been coming up within this Mercury retrograde of introspection and reflection when it comes to our expression of self in terms of our quest and in terms of what we've been discovering. But everything, you know, is working for us. There's nothing here working against us. This is just showing where challenging energy might be. So I feel this is connected to potential self-sabotage of previous opportunities. Okay, and we're having to almost nurture ourselves through. But by trusting our intuition more now, it's allowing us to open up to more opportunities. It's just the challenging side of it is the realization that maybe our intuition alerted us to this before and we didn't follow it. Yeah. So, you know, but always take the point that this is the right time. If you're discovering things now, this is the right time. Okay. Because it's all divine timing. Okay. So that was Neptune and the masculine and feminine energies. We've also got Lilith in the mix, you know, and has been for some time, you know, with the shadow elements coming up. And I know there's been this rise of the feminine energy and the feminine essence within through the shadow work that's been done, the rising up through the shadows, and that in turn empowering the masculine to have more of that sovereign drive to take action to move forward. So Lilith, a great teacher, can highlight those shadow aspects for us to pay attention to. And there is, you know, this square that is going to Ceres, okay, which is also feminine energy in Sagittarius, from where Lilith is. So, you know, that could just be challenging some of the expansion that we're wanting to feel when it comes to, you know, our quest going forward. And I have to say, this keeps popping into my mind, self-critical. So there could be some self-critical aspects. Now, with what I've just said about Mars and Neptune and our intuition kind of maybe revealing some stuff or illuminating stuff to us with this full moon, of where we have potentially self-sabotaged or self-deceived, you know, out of situations and opportunities, you know, that's possibly been playing on kind of fears and doubts, which of course is the shadow side coming up. But Lilith in Virgo, you know, when we look at the shadow side of Virgo, there can be a self-critical nature to that. So we may have also been realizing, well, we've been too critical of ourselves for following something that we maybe wanted to. So we've limited that expansion that Ceres can bring us. Yeah. But we've still been doing the shadow work. You know, there is this trine that's going from both Lilith and Juno across to Jupiter and Uranus. In fact, sorry, it's going to Uranus. It's because my line is not exactly there, as you can see. So yeah, this trine going across to Uranus. So that is the planet of change. And you know, I suppose I wanted to say Jupiter, to bring Jupiter in the mix as well, because, you know, they're both in Taurus, it's worth and values, and Jupiter is still, you know, allowing for that inner growth and expansion, being in retrograde. But Lilith and Juno, you know, in trine to Uranus. So, you know, loving connections could be supporting change when it comes to this, but also through recognizing and working through shadow aspects as well. But not only that, I feel that there's self-love with this. So we've got the possibly being self-critical, but then also showing ourselves more of that self-love. And that's what's facilitating the change that's needed in our worth and values. Equally, as we've understood our worth more and what does need to change in that respect, it's then allowed us to show ourselves more self-love, and it's enabled us to work through the shadows as a result, is what I feel from that. Okay. But definitely, you know, the emphasis with this full moon, I feel, you know, with all that being said, with the other points I've mentioned, that there is definitely an essence of this karmic debris and the lessons of Saturn, and how, you know, the full moon is helping us with our inner growth and expansion. It's allowing us to really release what we need to in terms of the karmic debris from situations that have, you know, delivered karma, or, you know, has resulted in karma of some kind. Okay, and take that as you will. That the sun is also helping this by powering us forward with that soul essence, you know. So what I'll do, I will stop sharing this chart and I will pull up the UK's chart. So here we are. Okay. So as I said, full moon in Cancer for the UK, 0033. Apply your own time zones as appropriate, but this particular segment of the astrology report is, of course, for the UK's collective. Okay, it might resonate with other people, but this is mainly for UK's collective, because it's the UK's natal chart as the inner wheel, and then the outer wheel is the event of the full moon. Okay, so again, it's a freeze frame of the cosmos at that time against the UK's natal chart to see how the alignments play out and what houses are involved. Okay. So let's get into this. First point I want to mention is about the time again, 0033. And I know this only relates to the UK, but 00, you know, that's God number times 2. And 33 is a master number connected to manifestation. So why are you mentioning this, Kirsty? You might be thinking to yourself, because it's a full moon and not a new moon. Well, yes, absolutely. But this relates to, you know, our manifestations that perhaps we've wanted from the new moon in Sagittarius that I referred to at the beginning of the report, that had that really expansive potential, profound, potent energy, you know, positive energy, all the P's, you know, when it comes to luck and expansion, love, fortune, amazing, amazing energy. And then, as I said, Mercury retrograde, and now we've got the full moon. So we're kind of, you know, that expansive potential, slowing down to introspect, to understand what we needed to release on this full moon, which then makes space for our manifestations. Okay, so that's just something intuitively that I was drawn to with regards to the time. And the number 33 might be significant for you as well. Okay, if that resonates for you. But what we see here is we see the aspects that I've just mentioned replicated on this chart. And, you know, because it's a smaller circle, I have to work with, apologies, because it can look quite messy when there's a lot of activity to focus on. Okay, but essentially what we've got here is we've got the moon over here in the 12th house for the UK, opposite the sun in the 6th house. Okay, so that soul essence drive in Capricorn of wanting to move forward and get things done in a regimented way could be applying to our daily routines and structures, as well as where we are of service to others. And what we might be feeling could be subconscious feelings that have come up to the surface, that have been illuminated to us, that we need to process and really, you know, try and do something with. And that does make sense when it comes to, you know, some of this karmic stuff, because it could have been hidden. There could have been hidden feelings. So the full moon may very well illuminate these feelings. It could be a sudden purge of these emotions. Okay. But ultimately, it relates to that intuitive house, the 12th house, the spiritual house. So this is on a soul level, okay, that this is going on. Now, you'll see some blue lines on this one that didn't appear on the other one, and that's because of this alignment here with the UK's North Node and the UK's South Node. So here, you know, there is a conjunction. It's not exact. There's 4 degrees difference, but it's close enough for this energy. So the moon is there conjunct the UK's natal North Node. So therefore, the sun is conjunct the UK's natal South Node. Here, we've got also this essence of karma because of the South Node. And the South Node for the UK is in Capricorn. Okay, so, you know, certainly where things have been quite regimented, quite structured, quite driven, okay, and maybe in a harsh way in the past or in a past life, could be coming up as part of this karmic debris that the sun is heightening at this point in order for it to be released. So the sun is heightening the energy in the 6th house of daily routines and structures, well-being, and where we are of service to others, okay, and driving us forward in terms of, okay, what we need to release in order to get to our purpose. So the moon there on top of the North Node, and how we feel about moving in the direction of our purpose. And with the North Node there being in Cancer for the UK's natal chart, okay, obviously your own North Node is going to give you an indication of your purpose in this lifetime. But there is something collectively here about the essence of unconditional love. And it might not feel like that at times in the collective, because we have to have that balance, unfortunately. But really, unconditional love, if we were all coming from a place of unconditional love, you know, just in our everyday life, everyday walk of life, wouldn't it be a much more harmonious place? Because coming from a place of unconditional love is a positive place to come from, okay? There's none of that negativity wrapped up in it. And also, as a result, we're naturally being of service, but we're being of service to ourselves and others. We're kind of giving out what we surely want to receive in that way. So we might be feeling those areas where that's maybe not happened, and how that's been challenging as a result of potential past life or karmic debris, okay, that the sun could be heightening and the moon is also heightening at this point. Yeah, okay. And as I say, the moon there, 12th house, so that's kind of like hidden, deep-rooted soul level stuff, okay. We've of course got this sextile from the moon to Jupiter, and Jupiter is in the 10th house of inner authority, work, and social status. Jupiter in sextile to Saturn in the 8th house of power. Saturn is also there in sextile to the sun in the 6th house. So we've got here a lot to do with our structure, a lot to do with our power, and a lot to do with our inner authority. And it could relate to our work situations, okay? It doesn't always have to be, but inner authority is kind of the leading point here. Now we've got all this Aries energy transiting through the 10th house as well. So sovereignty, you know, there is a big message about sovereignty here and coming from a place of sovereignty. Okay, and that is certainly the collective global, you know, north node, if you want to look at it like that, because the north node is in Aries at the moment. Okay. So it's interesting, you know, for you to look at where your north node is. We've got the north node in Aries and the UK's north node in Cancer. So when you tie everything up and you look at all the alignments, this is what makes it fascinating, and how there's many different layers to astrology. Okay. But essentially here, there is emphasis on sovereignty, and the inner growth and expansion that Jupiter is offering through the retrograde is in the house of inner authority. So we are expanding, we are growing as an individual within our inner authority. Brilliant. That's what we want. We grow within our inner authority. We're more empowered to move forward. And then we are more sovereign as a result. And it's working in harmony. All of this is working in harmony with Saturn in the 8th house, okay, which is actually Scorpio's house. So there is depth to this house, but it is, you know, about power, deep-rooted power. And so our empowerment. And we can be empowered through these Saturnian lessons as we're learning them, as we're receiving the wisdom, and as we're releasing them. So again, full moon, let's release what we need to, what we've understood about these lessons, and where the karmic debris is that we need to release. Okay. The other sextile that I mentioned was between Venus and Pluto. So here we have Pluto is also in the 6th house, but Venus is in the 5th house. So yes, could be very much connected to love. And in the opposite house, the 11th house, that's where Uranus is, okay? And we know that there was that trine, okay, from Lilith and Juno in the 3rd house across to Uranus in the 11th. So Uranus is in the 11th house of connections with other people, okay? So wanting change to happen within our connections with others that are in alignment with our worth and values. Venus, yes, we've had to take stock of where we're investing, but also who we're investing in. So Venus is in the house of love. So let's get deep here, Scorpio energy, with what it is we love, who it is we love, and how we are investing our resources accordingly in those areas. That's going to facilitate the deep transformation that is then going to allow us to become more of ourselves, but also facilitating the deep transformation Pluto's calling for within our structures, within our daily routines. Because we might love to do a certain thing that's part of our daily routine. And therefore, if we're investing more of our time in that, we are going to then transform in that area of our daily routines. If we're being of service to others, and it's actually something we absolutely love doing, we love being around those people, we're of service to them in whatever way, okay? And that's facilitating the transformation. But also looking at the other side, where might change need to happen because, of course, of what Uranus is calling for. And the shadow side we need to look at is in the house of expression, in the 3rd house. So self-critical aspects from Lilith that I was mentioning, okay, needing to show ourselves that self-love, but where might we need to communicate and express ourselves in relation to these shadow aspects that are coming up? Well, the trine is over to Uranus, so within our connections with others. So where connections with others might not be in line with our worth and values anymore, we need to express ourselves. And we need to also be less self-critical while still being critical enough to tell ourselves the truth, okay, but needing to nurture ourselves through this with the self-love of Juno as well. And it could also relate to loving connections because Juno relates to love and marriage, okay, so there could be emphasis on that for some as well, that it's connected to loving relationships, supporting through the shadow aspects, or any that need to change in some way, okay? Which could be boundaries, it could just be a change of values and realignment in that respect, okay? And then that square that's going from Lilith to Ceres, well, Ceres is also in the 5th house, even though there is Sagittarius energy. And this is why astrology is fascinating, because you've got some Scorpio and some Sag in the 5th house. So, you know, Ceres is there, and there is this square to Lilith. So the shadow feminine side, light feminine side there, of those two asteroids. And, you know, the expansion within that house of love, perhaps being a bit challenged because of a self-critical approach within our expression. So that might be also something that needs to be released, could be illuminated on this full moon to be released. Okay, but it's allowing the trust in the connection with our intuition. And on the subject of that, we have, of course, got that trine from Venus in the 5th to Neptune in the 9th, Neptune in Pisces, and the square that is also going to Mars and Mercury in the 5th. So both masculine and feminine energies there connected to Neptune are in the 5th house of love. So yes, our intuition, what have we learned? What have we discovered? Okay, through our intuition in that respect, when it connects to matters of the heart, okay, and where, you know, the masculine drive wants to propel us forward, and Mercury wants to be expressive and perhaps apply some logic there as well, but, you know, to be balanced in that way within expression and communication could be challenged because of, as I mentioned before, the self-sabotage that could have been going on, because maybe the full moon will illuminate, or it might have been illuminated before, areas where our intuition has maybe told us something and we've self-sabotaged through fear of propelling us forward with the masculine drive, or through fear of expression with Mercury. And the Mercury retrograde is also helping us see that. But, you know, our intuition is helping us assess our investments with the Venus energy. So that's where it's working, you know, hand in hand. And we're learning this because Neptune is in the 9th house. 9th house of discovery and learning. But, you know, you'll notice that Neptune is now 25 degrees. It was formerly exactly conjunct the UK's Mercury, 24, but now Neptune is no longer retrograde. Of course, it is moving forward. So, you know, 25 degrees, but direct opposition here to the UK's natal Lilith. So, you know, we're still learning about the shadow elements within and where we have been too critical on ourselves, but maybe where we do desire to be more organized, more focused. You know, our intuition is telling us all of this. Our shadow is telling us all of this. Have we been listening? Have we been too self-critical? Have we been deceiving ourselves through all of this? And this could be what's been coming up through our connection with our intuition. Now Neptune is direct. You know, we could be getting loads of messages through about all of this. And also Mercury retrograde, the messages coming in that we're having to reassess, reevaluate, review, retrograde, of course, and how this is kind of got us to this point of the full moon and needing to release what we need to release relating to those things. Yeah, because we're wanting to free up space to bring in those manifestations that are so much more aligned with our spiritual truth. And all of this energy that is supporting what Saturn is driving for. And certainly, you know, in the house of empowerment and power, you know, also passion, but, you know, we want to have that passion for ourselves and feel powerful in that way as a divine being of source creation. So, of course, you know, allowing for that inner growth and expansion, allowing for the transformation, allowing for us to take stock of our investments when it comes to time, energy, money, love, attention. What are we investing those in? Who are we investing those in? Where have we been self-critical? Where might we have not listened to our intuition? Where might Mercury be showing us that we need to communicate something? Where might Mercury be showing us our thoughts have not been aligned with our worth and values and our truth? And where might the sun be showing us now, you know, there's aspects of, you know, past life patterns or karmic situations that really need to be cleared? And where do we need to feel those feelings when it comes to pursuing our purpose and giving ourselves that unconditional love, the permission to feel the feelings, I suppose, is what I want to say. We want to have the permission to feel the feelings, and that permission comes from us. Okay, it all comes from us. It all starts with us. So giving ourselves the permission to accept what has been shown to us, to gain the wisdom from these situations and the lessons of Saturn, and the permission to feel the feelings, to release them. Okay, this is what this is all about, but very much tied in with lessons and karmic debris that we need to release. Okay, and getting our investments in alignment with who and what we're investing in terms of, you know, the heart chakra energy, what we love, who we love, etc. Putting boundaries in place or letting boundaries down to allow opportunities in. Okay, and, you know, perhaps releasing fears around doing that, because again, past situations or even past life situations could be preventing that because of fear, you know, because the energetic wall comes up because you want to protect yourself. Absolutely natural. So it depends on the situation, if you're even experiencing anything like this. But it could be that there is some karmic debris around the situation, the connection, whatever it might be, that needs to be accepted and released. And those messages could be coming through via intuition because of the Neptunian aspects there, you know, the trine to Venus, the challenging energy with Mars and Mercury. So it could all be coming up during this period of retrograde and during this alignment of the full moon, okay, for us to really pay attention to understand what these patterns are, why they're coming up, what is the debris that still needs to be cleared in that respect, and how to go back, can you tell it's Mercury retrograde? How to go about releasing them, okay, in order to clear that stagnant energetic space, to open up to new and vibrant and divine opportunities and blessings. Okay, awesome. Right, let's take some cards. Okay, so I've got many decks here. Okay, let's start with Queen of the Moon Oracle, seeing as it is a full moon. Okay, what does the collective need to know, please? Oops. So let's see what we have. What does the collective need to know, please, for the full moon in Cancer? For the full moon in Cancer, please. Did you see that one fly? That one's also poking out. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Right, you see that one? Do that, you see the phone. So yeah, that's darkness. So this is almost like this dark night of the soul that, you know, we might have been experiencing, and now the full moon is lighting the path forward, you know, because it's almost saying, right, it's safe to progress on the path, but there is a need to release. Now, this isn't a full moon that's shown, it's eclipse energy, and maybe the eclipse season that we had did illuminate a lot of this stuff, because that would have very much heightened the energy. But this is also, you know, your power to light your path forward through what you've experienced during any dark night of the soul. Okay, and that's probably showing you what you do need to release. And then we have faith. Okay, there's Empress vibes to this, but, you know, it's about birthing opportunities for yourself in order to move forward, and to have the faith in the divine to meet those, you know, intentions and manifestations. If it's coming from a place of absolute alignment with spiritual truth, yeah, that matches that sort of law, if you like, the divine law when it comes to manifestations. But you need to meet the universe halfway with it, and also surrender. It's a massive part of it. Okay, and I won't go into that now, it's for another time. We've also got the Moonology deck. Okay, let's see what we have. Additional message, please, for the collective. Oh, right. Find the energy, please. Full moon, thank you, in Cancer. I love it how it's synchronized here. Thank you, Spirit. Surrender to the divine. What was I just saying? And this is a full moon card. There you go. Thank you. Synchronize with Spirit there. Message for you. Surrender to the divine. This is about, you know, on the bottom we've got here, meditate and contemplate. So that's very much Piscean energy. You might be getting messages through meditations, you know, which is coming from your intuition. But this is about surrendering to the divine with this full moon energy of what might be coming up illuminated to you at this time based on what I've said in the astrology reports and what you need to release. Surrendering to the divine in terms of setting those intentions to release whatever it is, because you're wanting to free up space to bring in those manifestations for what is truly, you know, divinely intended for you in terms of blessings and opportunities. So massive energy there. Okay, then I've got Star Codes Astro Deck. Okay, here we have from the Star Codes Astro Deck, please. For me in Cancer, please. Thank you. They are really wanting to fly all over the place. Okay, beautiful. Right. We've got Juno partnership. Okay. I'm drawn to the fact, you know, my eyes went straight to the number there, 31. 3 and 1 is 4. The full moon is happening at 4 degrees of Cancer. So the sun is at 4 degrees of Capricorn, 4-4. That's also a master number 44 and has that ascended master's vibe to it as well. Powerful energy. This is to do with partnership, Juno. Okay, so this is recognizing with this full moon, okay, what might be illuminated is certain partnerships, okay, that may be there to help you release certain aspects. It could even be partnerships, connections that do relate and have a past life component to them. Okay, there could be a lot of karmic debris. That is the term I'm using. There could be a lot of karmic debris around connections in this lifetime that have a past life link. Okay, so there could be karmic debris surrounding partnerships and connections, and that debris relates to a past life. So that all needs to be cleared in this lifetime. Okay, because it repeats in further lifetimes. Okay, it's like coming back around to learn those lessons again to clear the karma that's needed. Okay, that's quite powerful, you know, because it does link in with the past life karmic situations. Absolutely. Okay. Let's see if we've got any additional messages from the Unfolding Path Tarot deck, because I do love this deck. And it is the Unfolding Path. So let's see what's unfolding for us. Let's see what's unfolding for the collective for this full moon in Cancer. What is unfolding for the collective, please? What does the collective need to know? Thank you. Oh, beautiful. Love it. Absolutely love it. Look how amazing that is. I mean, these cards are truly spectacular. The artwork is amazing. This is Aquarius energy. This is healing and rebirth. It's also hope. Okay, there's a cleansing field to this. It's Aquarius. Okay. And it's Major Arcana. All right, it's card number 17. And what I will say is it comes after the Tower in the Major Arcana. So the Star comes after the Tower, because the Tower is all about, you know, the crumbling of the old, destruction of the old, because it was never built on a stable foundation in order to rebuild from a stable foundation. And that's when the Star comes in for that rebirth moment, and it's very healing. That's beautiful. Okay, let's see what else we have. What's unfolding for the collective with this full moon, please? So it might be that there's some Tower moments going on because of releasing. That one popped up into my hand. Did you see that? Literally caught it like that. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. 2 of Swords. Right, a choice. Okay, that one's poking out as well. Strength in reverse. That's Leo energy. So that's actually opposite to Aquarius energy. There is a choice that's needed, and needing the strength to make that choice. So that could be about a Tower moment that you're experiencing, or that you need to experience in your situation to rebuild anew. But to have that as a starting point, positive. It was in the upright. This is about healing, okay, and starting afresh. Okay, is there anything else, please, for the collective? The full moon in Cancer. Anything else, please? Right, they came out together. So we have the Three of Pentacles with the King of Wands. Yeah, this is about building a foundation. Okay, Three of Pentacles is very much about building a foundation, but it's also collaboration. Okay, it's teamwork as well. And that could be teamwork with the divine. But also we saw this, didn't we? Juno, partnership. So perhaps, you know, that collaboration with someone else that you're connected to cleanse that karma, to allow the Tower moment to fall, you know, making a choice to do that and having the strength to do that, to enable the rebirth and healing in a connection, okay, to empower forward. It could simply be saying with the King of Wands, because that's very much entrepreneurial energy, because it's wands, it's about taking action, it's about going after what you want. It's the minor arcana version of the Emperor. So it's very much divine masculine energy. It's the drive forward to do something. So having the drive forward to lay a foundation, you know, that you can build on, okay? Accepting any collaboration, of course, that is going to help that, but ultimately needing to make a choice and having the strength to do that, to move forward, to enable this fantastic energy. Okay, and the hidden energy here is Hermit. That's Virgo energy. Okay, it's card number 9. So that's also saying about releasing to me, because it's number 9. Okay, but what is beautiful here, and this is why I love using different decks, and I'm guided to certain things by spirit, and I really appreciate these messages coming through because they're meant to come through for a reason. This is also major arcana energy. It's in the hidden energy on the bottom of the deck. That's how I read it. So this is about the introspection that we've needed to go through. Okay, because the Hermit goes within the cave. Okay, goes within the cave to actually find the way forward through that introspection, okay, to gain the wisdom, to understand that innate wisdom within, to then guide the path forward. And actually is usually depicted with a lantern. We see she is carrying a star. So that to me is a perfect synchronicity, okay, a full circle there. Allowing yourself to find the answer to what your rebirth is, okay, and that could be where the choice comes into it, and having the strength to do it, especially if a tower needs to fall, metaphorically speaking, because that is what you're carrying. You're carrying that with you. You've got that there. You've got that potential for rebirth, new start, healing, to rebuild after the tower falls. So it's there. So there's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to fear. You've got it there. But you might not be aware of it because it's in the hidden energy. So you've got it there. That came out first to say, look, this is a time for rebirth. Well, you've got it there. So the power is in your hands, basically, and it's all about releasing, number 9, what no longer serves you, okay? Beautiful, like that. Okay, final card, final message. Goddess Spirit, beautiful deck. Let's see, what does Goddess Spirit have for the collective for this full moon in Cancer, please? Okay. Superb. Thank you so much, Spirit. Thank you. Well, this was the one that wanted to come out, Celine. Okay, card 41, 4 and 1 is 5. 5 is all about change. Now we have abundance and romance there. Okay, so take that as you will. But this is about driving forward, you know, in terms of the abundance that you seek, allowing that kind of, you know, the goddess or God spirit energy as the sovereignty to guide you forward to the abundance. Remember, you've got that within you, but a tower might need to fall in order for you to rebuild. Okay, and that tower could simply be, you know, the destruction of an old thought pattern that no longer serves you, or it could be a job that needs to go because it no longer serves you. It could be a connection that no longer serves you. However it might play out, if it plays out at all. But you're carrying the wisdom within you, so you know what that star is for you. And that star is there, starting off the reading for you. But the tower might need to fall first so that the old can crumble, so the new can be rebuilt. And it's powerful. But the reason why I did another kind of smile to spirit, because this is a synchronicity again. On the bottom, hidden energy, we have Tara. Okay. And you'll see it says hope, star, renewed purpose. And it's card 25. 2 and 5 is 7. 7 is divinely guided. She is wearing a crown, sovereignty. Okay. So we can't get much clearer than that. And underneath that, the sun, good fortune and happiness. Okay. So there is opportunity here for renewed purpose and hope. That star energy is coming through. Star energy is coming through. So, you know, this could even be indicating that, you know, by Aquarius season, there could be some significant changes that you're starting to see. Okay, we're in Capricorn, so it's the next season. Remember that Pluto will be moving into Aquarius. Okay, and that is, I'll do an astrology report on that, of course, but you know, that's all about the deep transformation and things changing in a much different way, because Aquarius is all about innovation and being individual and unique. Okay, so collectively things are going to change. So this is about now allowing towers to fall, allowing you to release what isn't serving you, to move forward into that Aquarian energy with that fresh hope and renewed purpose, like it says there. And I'll just remind you again, you got it within you to do it. So you know, you possibly know, but it could be hidden, deep rooted, and that might be what the moon illuminates. The full moon could illuminate it. It may have already been illuminated to you, and the full moon is going to simply assist you with that lunar energy to release what you need to. And that might be releasing self-limited beliefs about doing what you want to do. It could be that. So it's working with the lunar energy to enable you to release what's not serving you. And if there is a self-limiting belief that is holding you back, okay, it's working with the energy. It's working with that. It's understanding why that self-limiting belief is there. Does it relate to karmic debris that needs to be cleared? Is it through conditioning? Is it through what other people are telling you? So again, you know, meditate and contemplate and allow yourself to work with the energy to understand what it is that is really driving you forward in terms of what your hope is, what your star energy is, and then understanding what might have been holding you back. Could be self-sabotage from before because of a situation, because of pain of the past. Completely natural, because we, you know, we're souls having a human experience here. Okay, and it's all part of Earth school. We are learning, we are discovering. We've just come out of Sagittarius season. A lot of discovery was happening during Sagittarius season, so we're learning a lot about ourselves, and it can be overwhelming. And this is why I say the full moon in Cancer, you could be feeling all the feelings of all of this. Okay, but it's allowing yourself to feel them and to release them because of this beautiful energy. All right, so I'm sending you all the best for this full moon in Cancer. Work with the lunar energy to release what you need to release, you know, to understand the wisdom of what's been illuminated to you, and to set those intentions with the divine, you know, for allowing yourself to release what isn't serving you, because you're wanting to free up that space to allow the new energy, the manifestations, the divine opportunities and blessings to enter. Okay, and the understanding that we need to free up space in order to allow that to happen. Okay, because we're always evolving. We're needing to do this kind of reassessment as we evolve, because our worth changes, our values change, you know, things like that. So we're becoming sovereign. Let's keep it going. Let's uphold our sovereignty. Let's uphold our integrity. Let's make sure we're in line with our spiritual truth. Okay, remember what I was showing you in the astrology report with all of those beautiful harmonious alignments to Saturn. You know, these are the lessons we're learning. And they're harsh lessons. They're Saturn lessons. They're harsh. Okay. And anybody that's gone through a Saturn return knows they're harsh. Okay, so this is about learning these lessons and understanding if they're coming from the past when it comes to this lifetime, if it relates to past life, where is it coming from? Why are these patterns coming up? Why am I experiencing this? Why is this happening with this person? Is it something to do with what I've been experiencing all my life? Is it to do with this connection? Is there karmic debris around this connection that needs to be cleansed and cleared? We need to understand, go within, meditate, contemplate, okay, and understand what's being shown to us by listening to our intuition, as I've shown you in the astrology reports. So I'll leave that there for now, and I'm sending you all the best, okay? I'm wishing you all the best for this full moon in Cancer. There will be further reports coming out because, of course, we will be moving into Aquarius season, okay, in January. Pluto will be moving in, and Mercury will, of course, be coming out of retrograde, as will Jupiter. So Jupiter comes out of retrograde. I think the final day is the 31st of December. So wrapping up the year with that. So also, let's make that inner growth and expansion count. That's the energy that Jupiter is giving us, and that's also hope as well. So let's, take all that on board. We're still needing to understand where change is needed with our worth and values, but we're getting there. The shadow work is paying off, in terms of us rising up through all of this, feeling empowered, motivated. Let's keep going, okay? Let's remain our sovereign selves, okay? Speak to you soon. Until the next report, take care. Sending you all the best. Bye for now.